Good evening and welcome to our vegan cooking class. We are so happy that you're joining us. This time for something a little different, we have actual people here in our audience. We invited a few people just so we could ease back into having people here in person. So thankfully, they responded and they get to sample the food tonight. So we're excited about doing both things, virtual and those in person. So thank you for coming, those of you that came. And thank you for joining us, those of you that are online. We hope that you try the recipes that we're trying out here, so you can taste them at home if you're on virtual. But we have tried the recipes, right, Yvonne?
We have, and they are delicious. We did a little bit of tweaking.
Yes.
And that's the...
We will explain what we changed,
yes.
And then y'all can do just however you want.
Yes.
But we did tweak a few things after we tasted
yes.
the recipes and decided, well, maybe a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. So as we get started tonight, let's bow our heads for prayer, and then we'll get started on the first recipe. Loving Father, Lord, we're so thankful to be here tonight. We're thankful that all of us are healthy and well. Thank you for the abundance of foods that you've given us. We pray, Lord, that tonight we'll learn some new things that we didn't know before, and add some new recipes to our list of things that we make for our families that are a little bit more healthy, perhaps, than what we've done before. Pray that you will be with those of us that are demonstrating, those in the kitchen, so that things will go smoothly. Thank you so much, Lord. We leave all of this in your care, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I'm going to disappear for a second.
Okay. The first thing we're going to demonstrate tonight is the Vegan Beet Burgers. And this is one of the recipes that we decided to tweak a little bit. And, you know, maybe we shouldn't have. You may decide that. We thought it was a little bland, but however, those of us just tasting it by itself, when you put it with the coleslaw, maybe to your taste it might have been all right. All right, so the very first thing on the instructions is to take the kidney beans. I've already rinsed the kidney beans, drained them, and rinsed them. Now, I did find some that were not salted, just like it asks in the recipe. No salt added kidney beans. I'm going to place it here in my food processor. And it says to do that along with the walnuts and the soy sauce. I think I have a teaspoon of soy sauce there ready to go. This is Bragg's Aminos soy sauce. And it also says to put in the pepper. I think I have everything in order. If you start right across there, that'll work perfectly. Okay.
Lovely little cups.
Yes, fancy little cups that I found. That have been in my kitchen cabinet forever, and I couldn't find a use for them, but now we found one. Okay, so we have the pepper, now the chili powder. It kind of makes you wonder how much difference just a half teaspoon of chili powder could make, right?
Well, the chili powder has so many different
ingredients.
Components.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so
all
it
right.
would make a difference.
So I've got a half teaspoon salt. And okay, let's put the ones. These are the things that we added that weren't in the recipe. So if you want to jot those down on your copy, that would be great. You know what? We didn't think of making you guys some copies. Is she making some? Oh, okay. Super. All right. So anyway, I'll repeat it again so everybody at home can put it down and we can put it down. I added 1 teaspoon of onion powder. There we go. Half teaspoon of garlic powder. I think those are just backwards, but that's okay.
Yeah, that looks like
A teaspoon.
yeah, that looks like a teaspoon.
And then I added a half tablespoon of smoked paprika
That's all. Can't
that
go
I
wrong
got
with
in
that.
Belgium, no less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with that.
And last but not least, a half tablespoon of nutritional yeast. You'll find that a lot of vegan recipes that are savory dishes, you just have to have this yeast and nutritional yeast because you can't cook vegan without it. It doesn't work.
And one note is nutritional yeast comes fortified and not fortified. And I didn't know that until shortly ago. So the fortified bothers my stomach, like, it's almost like taking a vitamin on an empty stomach. You know, that can cause you some issues. So if that's your problem, get the unfortified, and it has a little bit less, it's naturally nutritious, but the fortified, they put like a vitamin pill in it almost.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's the difference. So you can't get it unfortified.
I also found that it comes in the form of flakes, and it comes in powder, which I
Yes.
used the powder today because I knew it would work well in this recipe. But I have found both. I don't know, I think the only thing I could find at one time was the powder. And so I thought,
Yeah,
okay,
why
fine.
not?
And then all the recipes asked for flake, so I had to go find some flake. But, all right, so that's all we put in this.
Okay.
And we're just going to pulse it for a little bit. I tried this in a different food processor at home, and my granddaughter Susie was doing it, and she said, "Grandma, it just throws it all on the side and then it doesn't do anything." This one works a little bit better.
That's good.
All right, I'm going to take that spatula and push it down a little bit.
Where's the rice?
It's actually in the microwave. You know, if they would.
We need the rice. The rice in the microwave.
Just pushing this down a little bit because really it's mostly mixed now. And you don't mix it so much that all the kidney beans, you can't see any parts of kidney beans, because that's fine to have it that way. In fact, when I was making the batch that I made at home today so we could fry some and have them ready, I found a whole bean in it.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all right. Okay, I think we're going to consider that done.
Okay.
All right, now, we are going to put this in a bowl, and then we're going to mix in the beets and the rice, and that's all there is to it. Cool, huh? The recipe says that you need to chill it. I'm not sure what the chilling is all about, but
It probably helps it to
hold together.
hold together.
All right, if you want to put the beets in here, that would be great. I warmed the rice a little bit because warm rice will mix in a little better than just cold rice and make it kind of stick together. Some of the recipes, and I can't remember whether it was this one, if you want to put your burgers on a grill, one of the things they said to add was gluten flour. Now, I haven't tried it, but one of the things my son-in-law Lou was saying was that they're kind of crumbly. I don't think the way this recipe is that you could put them on a grill.
No.
But if you add some gluten flour, you could probably do that, if you like to grill. That's what.
Do we have to have every last one?
Now, I don't know, no.
Okay.
Looks like we got a big piece of beet.
Ooh.
You know, in the recipe, if you'll notice, it doesn't say fresh beets. It just says grated beets, right? Shredded red beets. I have not tried it with the canned shredded beets that you can buy. These are fresh beets that I did grate them. Here, I'll notice, see how coarse they are? I didn't grate them real fine. I've made this recipe several times and it worked out fine to do it that way. So,
Is it cooked?
no, it's just raw. The beets are raw. I didn't cook them at all. And for those of you that are living in this area, Kroger has just organic beets. That's all they have. I did find some regular beets at Meijer today so that you could they were bulk. I could just buy what I wanted. The organic ones are a little bit pricey, but I had enough with the one bunch that I bought, so that's what all of these are. So anyway, all right, we're going to mix this in, and this is what makes it pink. I guess we need the rice in there too. I pre-measured the rice. I don't know what your preference is. I do use the quick brown rice because it's just fast, and that's what I cooked today and measured out for the. Now, it says to chill it for, I think, does it say an hour? What does it say on your recipes?
1 hour.
Yeah. We're going to put this back in the freezer and speed that up just a little bit. It was funny, we made 2 different recipes that I had saved in the refrigerator, and my daughter was frying them here before the program. One recipe turned out really red, and the other not so much.
Interesting.
Same beets,
Yeah.
same recipe, so I don't know what we did. All right, that's all there is to it. So you can see how it's come up into a nice dough. And we will go back and put this in our freezer, and then we'll Yvonne, take it over. All right. All right. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. And by the way, the recipe says that recipe that we gave you is for 4 patties. They're nice and thick. That's how I made them. I just made 4. And we've got some sliders today, so we made them into 8. But still, works very nicely. Okay?
How long would they keep if you made a batch and froze them, or?
Okay, the question is, how long would they keep if you froze them? At least 6 months, I would say, if you freeze them, yeah. So, and that's a nice way to do it. I freeze a lot of things like that when I don't need to, for just 2 of us, you don't use them all, but it's nice to be able to pop them out and make sandwiches, so. All right.
Okay. Crispy onion fries. I was looking for a recipe. This was a few months ago, and it was I was trying to decrease my oils and whatever consumption. And so this recipe initially is it was a fat-free, salt-free. I'm like, oh, no. I have to have some salt and recipe. And the presenter was very animated. He spoke a lot of French, but he was not from France, if you understand what I'm saying. So I had to really edit the recipe because my eyes were burning, and so were my ears when he was doing the presentation. But anyway, what I have in the back, and Marcia will be bringing it out shortly, are 8 medium potatoes. We like russet potatoes, and I really dislike those recipes that say 8 of this or 7 of that, what have you. So I purchased a bag of organic potatoes by Kroger, Simple Truth, which was interesting. There were 8 potatoes in it, and every bag that I picked up had 8 potatoes in it. I'm like, okay, you must know about this recipe. But so it's 3 pounds. So if you want to make that note, it should be about 3 pounds of potatoes that you'll need. And we, thank you. Hot. And so what we did, we took each potato and cut them into wedges, maybe about 8 wedges per potato. And so this is what you do. You cook them in salted water, like it says here, 8 medium potatoes, cooked for 5 minutes. Now, don't add the potatoes, don't boil water and put the potatoes in it. It was distort what it's trying to do, because if you put the potatoes in with the water, the potatoes are more or less slowly cooking as they're coming up to a boil. And you let it roll boil for 5 minutes and take it off and drain it. So,
Do you want to show us what it looks like in the pot? Did we see it?
yeah, I haven't done the.
I know, but the wedges, what it looks like so far.
Oh,
Just so we
I
can
raised
see.
up one.
Oh, okay.
So, see,
There you
that's
go.
what they look like that.
Perfect.
This is 3 pounds, it's quite a bit. And the recipe says, which is interesting, that this is for 4 servings. So I know, Joy, you were just happy about, about having 1/4 of this recipe. So, okay, all right. But, so I'm going to measure out basically the rub type stuff. And I've measured it out already. So it's 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I found this garlic powder online at Amazon, and it's like roasted garlic, which is really yummy. It really has a good toasty flavor. And so that's that. And then 1 teaspoon of onion powder. I'm doing it like this because you really don't want to dump, because you'll have little pockets of flavors and you'll not be happy. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. One teaspoon of chili powder. 1 teaspoon of salt. And this is that Celtic sea salt, but you can use any sea salt. Just don't use Morton's iodized salt. Please, 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 don't do that. Okay. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. It's optional, but it's not hot. I mean, for this amount of potatoes, you won't have blazing lips.
Sure.
You can't just say not to use something and not tell us why.
What?
Morton's iodine salt.
Oh, Morton's iodized salt has a lot of additives in it. It has sugar in it. It has some metals in it. And it does something with your body. I forget exactly what it is. I'll think of it eventually.
Are there any sea salts that have iodine?
Probably your mineral salts would have a trace of it in there.
Okay, but they don't iodize them.
No, because too much iodine is not good for us. And different foods have iodine in them, like your seaweeds, sushi. Or those little snacks they have now, those seaweed snacks that everyone loves. Just munch on that. You know, there's ways to get it in you.
That's a better way to get your iodine.
Yes, it's a healthier way to get your iodine. Okay, so here are the potatoes, and I'm going to shake all this in here. It looks like a lot, but again, it's 3 pounds of potatoes. And you put on the lid, and you're supposed to shake it like you're shaking popcorn. You will shake it. And what this does, it kicks up the surface of the potatoes and then gets the seasonings into the potatoes. And with the surface being kicked up like that, it allows the potatoes to really crisp up really good. So that's what you want. So that's how it looks. And before I do that, because I want them to be extra crispy, this is not my favorite one, but this is the best I can do for spread. And this is pure vegetable, olive oil. And it's by Food Network. I got it at Kohl's yesterday.
And it works and doesn't get all clogged up?
Yep. Works pretty good. But you have to get to work it to get it to work.
Elbow grease.
The one that I have at home is much nicer, but my husband's at home eating, and I didn't want to take it away from him. Okay, so but we do need to kind of place them on the cookie sheets with the flesh side down. Yeah, fingers work better. Because a fork, you may break it. So use your fingers. Use your natural tools. And And it doesn't have to have any special fancy pattern because they're just potatoes that are going to go into your mouth. And so, Marsha was really good. She had them all lined out really well. And mine were like helter-skelter, so.
We'll bring those out to serve.
And so, and this is it, and they bake in the oven on 425. Make sure it's preheated and nice and hot. This makes 2 trays, and I place one tray on the very bottom rack, and I place the other one on the very top rack. And after 25 minutes, I rotate them for 5 minutes, and it just gets them extra crispy.
Are you
That's all.
saying that you raise your oven rack up to the top position?
Yes,
Wow, and then you put one at the lowest
Yes.
position, and that's how you go?
yes.
So we were supposed to swap those, I don't know if they swapped.
Yes, I did.
Oh, did you already?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's why I was running back at one point. That's why I was going like, ah. So, but that's it, and I will,
Do you want me to take this?
please, and I will lightly spray the top, and we'll bake. And it's just minimal oil. It's probably not even half a teaspoon for the whole recipe. For those of us who are counting. So,
But that's probably an important step because that makes them get crispy, right?
this really, I forgot to do this yesterday when I had just put them in the oven, and I forgot, I yanked them out and took them off the sheet and did this, so it makes a big difference. But that is our crispy oven fry recipe.
Any questions, anybody? All right, maybe you'll have questions. By the way, I want to read those additions that you didn't have your papers on. The seasonings that I said that I added. I added 1 teaspoon onion powder, half teaspoon garlic,
To the beet burgers specifically?
to the beet burgers, yes.
Can you say it again? So, starting it, say, what was it again?
The first one was 1 teaspoon onion powder and then half teaspoon garlic powder. And then a half tablespoon smoked paprika. I have a little half tablespoon, and I just love that measuring spoon. Because there's so many things that you need a half tablespoon for. It's the best. And last but not least, a half tablespoon of nutritional yeast. All right, let's bring the things out for our... Yvonne, when are you going to do the slaw, the very last thing?
I can't, since we fix it, we need it.
All right, we're going to set up to do the brownies. Okay. We had we didn't get me a bowl like we had for the beet burgers. Okay. When Yvonne sent me this recipe, I looked it over and I thought, oh my word, I'm going to be running all over town for these ingredients. There's things on this recipe I had never heard of before. Now, y'all are probably a lot more educated than I am in vegan cooking. How many people knew what aquafaba was? I had never heard of aquafaba, and I thought, where am I going to find that? And then I read a little further, and all it is the juice from a can of chickpeas. And it's really weird. I mean, who would ever think of using that as really a substitute for eggs, right? I mean, because this doesn't have anything in it for the egg. But it works wonderfully. It's amazing what it does when you see how it beats up. I mean, it doesn't beat up like egg whites, but it does beat up with the sugar and makes a nice consistency. So, all right, All right, yeah, that'll work. I forgot to put a bowl out. All right. Bring that out, the whole thing. The cutting board and everything the way I have it set up. I baked a couple of batches of these brownies today. The recipe calls for an 8-inch pan. And they don't bake in the time it says. In fact, I think I baked them for probably 40 minutes to get them done. I kept checking 5 minutes and I'd go 3 minutes and 2 minutes. And those suckers just wouldn't get done because I kept putting a toothpick in like she said. And finally, my husband insisted that I should put them in a bigger pan. Well, I didn't want to go great big, but a 9-inch pan today, in my opinion, worked perfectly. I really liked it much better. It didn't take nearly as long to bake. I think it baked more evenly because of the larger size. At least, here's my little 8-inch pan, you know. So they're pretty thick in there. But the 9-inch pan, they're just about what you would expect brownies to be, right? So I thought they were.
Are they still as spongy as the others came out? Because they're really gooey.
I think so. I haven't tasted them yet, but they appear to be. Now, I'm going to let Susie do the parchment paper. We're going to take these brownies out. As it says in your recipe, when we get to the end, if you would line your pan with parchment paper so you can just, and leave the tails out so you can just lift them right out. Isn't that cool? Mm-hmm. And then we're going to cut them on there when we get to the end. But now, we can reuse this pan and you want to just go right over there and line it. Just do 2 pieces, one way, one the other way. That works really nicely. And I didn't even have it completely in the corners, and they lifted right out without any problem. So, all right. Before I made the recipes today, in fact, kind of the way we did it the other day, I got all my ingredients ready, and it was just so easy when I did it that way. I just measured everything out, and I love the fact that the recipe says how many grams, because, you know, when you measure flour, when I was in college, I think I've told this on the class before, but our nutrition teacher sifted flour and measured a cup, and then she just took flour out and measured a cup, and then she weighed it. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of difference in how you measure flour. So I love the so many grams, all right? All right. All right, the first thing we're going to do after you get that done, Susie, right? That's fine. Here's the wax paper. Susie is going to sift the flour and the cocoa. Now, it asks for Dutch chocolate. Now, I don't know if y'all have Dutch processed chocolate in your house. Do you?
That's all I like. It makes a tremendous difference in your
Right.
recipes.
That's what she said.
Where do
The
you get
flavor.
it? Well, this is what it was really funny because I went to every health food store in town. I'd call them. I went, and they'd say, oh, yeah, we have that. And they'd take me back to the place where they normally had the Dutch processed chocolate, and it was empty. I called Rainbow Blossom. Oh, yeah, we have it in bulk. Went back, empty. So I found this in Kroger, and it says Dutched
Yes.
cocoa powder.
Yes.
And then when I got out of my pantry, I had some Hershey's dark chocolate, and it says Dutch on it. So I wouldn't have had to buy anything. So
I was going
anyway,
to say Hershey's is Dutch. Yeah.
when I read what it said about it, it talked about it being Dutch processed, so I guess it was. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff we have. All right, now I have a really old-fashioned flour sifter.
That is
I
old.
like it a lot better than the little squeezy kinds because my hand gets so tired. So Susie is going to, you're supposed to sift together. Oh, we're supposed to do the we're supposed to sift the flour and the cocoa together. So there's your flour. I've measured out the flour.
I did remember about the iodized salt. they're one of the additives, I don't know the exact name of it, it does work adversely on your body, especially when you have high blood pressure. And many times it's not the salt or the sodium that's in the salt that you're consuming, but it's the additives that's in it.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. As you can see, we're going to need to sift this several times. Have any of you had recipes where you had to sift the flour and stuff? My mother used to make a chocolate cake, and you had to sift the flour and the sugar and the cocoa together.
Yeah.
So,
So how many times do you sift?
well,
Let's say.
I do it 3 times. Twice, she's going to put the sifter here and then take that and put it in here. And then I sift it into the bowl,
Okay.
and it worked for me. It gets pretty, just so it's evenly mixed is all you're trying to do. Doesn't have to be perfect, but
This takes me back to cooking with my mother. Yeah, that. I have one of those too, Barbara.
do you?
Yeah, yes, I think it's my mom's.
I hope it never breaks because I love it.
Do they not make those anymore, like that?
I haven't seen them.
They still make the one with the
Yeah, Jake and I found some. We always have the.
It's annoying.
But they has that one. Yeah. Jake and I found some in Kroger's actually in there.
Okay, you want the bowl?
You know what? No, we don't want to add it in there yet.
Okay.
Let's put this in here. You can see this one. Yeah, just leave it on the plastic. Yeah, well, like I said, my hand gets really tired. If you're doing very much flour, that stupid thing is a killer. Maybe that would really strengthen our hands, right?
Yeah, because you know, they have those.
Instead of using those little things
Oh.
to squeeze, you could just sift flour. Now, any questions?
Can you put almond flour as opposed to all-purpose
No,
or any other flour?
you need the gluten. Almond flour is not a glutinous flour. Yeah, no, you need that, the gluten that holds it together. So any type of flour that has gluten in it, you could use.
For this particular recipe. There's probably recipes out there that you could use that in, but not this one. Okay, so we got that ready. Now, the aquafaba. All right. Since I've made so many recipes of this, right? 2 cans makes 3 recipes, just in case you need to know. All right, so I've got the lid off this, and all I'm going to do is just measure it in here, and we're going to need a 1/2 cup, which is on the other side naturally. All right, there we go. There's still a little left in there. So now, what are you going to do with all those crazy garbanzo beans, right?
Make hummus. Hummus.
Make what?
Make hummus.
That's true, but you need some juice for hummus too, right?
Yes, a little bit.
So you'll have enough left, yeah? I hadn't thought about that. Hummus. Well, I don't know if I could eat that much hummus. But you know what? We also have a recipe for garbanzo, or what do you call them?
Cauliflower tacos.
Cauliflower tacos call for that.
Oh, okay.
But while I was searching around for recipes, I did, in fact, where I got the seasonings, I think it was a chickpea recipe for burgers. Chickpea burgers. So there's all kinds of things you could do. All right, now we're going to pour this in here. And I believe it says to add the sugar. I've measured out the sugar. This is the organic cane sugar that I'm using. That's what it calls for. I'm going to dump that in there, Susie.
You smell so good.
So,
Step away.
I'm going to pass this off back in the back, and they're going to beat it. You beat it for 3 minutes. I tried it with several different mixers.
I'll take
It will turn creamy and nice when you beat it for 3 minutes. We'll bring it back out and let you all see it, okay? In the meantime, maybe we can cut up our brownies. Since it has special instructions for the brownies. You're not supposed to take a knife and cut them up and down and up and down and up and down, because then they get all crummy. So this is the first time I've ever used this. I just got this cool knife especially for pizza. And I thought, well, maybe it would work for this. I hope so.
Oh, very nice.
These are cooler. I would have cut them when they were warm, but they're pretty cool since I did them at home first. All right. Now we're going to cut them in 3 this way, and then we'll cut them in half that way. All right, there we go. Well, we lost a little bit, huh?
So that's the true serving size?
That's what she says, yes, 12.
Oh, that's nice.
3 times 4, they're pretty big. For those of you that have tasted these, that's a lot of these brownies. It's enough for a family, because they are rich. But anyway, there, we'll paste those back on so you can organize them.
So you need
Actually, I want to show them how.
It works really well with ice cream though. Mix it in with some ice cream, it's really good.
You can see how much higher these are, how much thicker they are. So, I mean, you know, if you prefer that, it works. I just had to bake it longer.
Well, visually for me, it makes me think I'm getting a bigger brownie.
Yes.
True.
So I prefer that one.
We will definitely go for the bigger pan, right? Okay, all right. I'm sure she's on. Oh, let's do this too. The chocolate that you use for this, as I read all the things in the recipe that describe things, she said, don't use a chocolate that you wouldn't eat. This is not baking chocolate. This is chocolate that you would eat. And I had no idea that there's so many chocolates on the market, 70%, 85%, 90%. I chose 70, especially after I had made it, and they were so strong chocolate. I decided, I didn't think I wanted to do it with a 90.
Yeah, we had some like 80, 85%.
60 works probably best, and that's the bittersweet. You've seen the bittersweet, and it's 60%. So
Really?
it works. That's what I use when I make brownies.
She said 65 to 80 or something like that.
Just ignore that.
60. Okay,
60. Yeah,
And
do
you can
60.
find it in bars like this.
Yes.
Okay.
And also you can find them in the chips.
Okay.
So you don't always have to. And the chips are less expensive than the bars, and it's the same.
It's the same.
Same
I
thing.
wondered about that. I thought, I bet I could do that. Yes.
We did have one more question that came in online. I just saw it. Can you use another sweetener? Can you use any other sweeteners to
Like
sweeten your
other than
brownie?
the cane sugar?
Yes.
Stevia probably.
All I can say is I haven't tried it. So,
Purchased a blend, a stevia blend with,
just start
forget
breaking
what
it
else
here.
was in it. And it's
We're going to cut them off. So don't worry
1
about it.
to 1. So you just shop around, but it should be something that's a 1-to-1 ratio because you want that volume.
It calls for 6 ounces, you know. When I was getting the ingredients, I blissfully went out there and bought a couple of bars, and I thought, well, that'll be enough. They're only 3.5 ounce, so you need at least 2 bars of this stuff. Oh, cool. Okay, Yvonne, take it by all of them and let them see, and I don't know whether you can get it in the camera too, so they can
do
see.
this. Shoot here, it's nice and
Creamy?
see how creamy it is.
There we go.
Isn't that cool?
I'm gonna have to zoom in, so just stay there for a second.
It's nice,
You can't really tilt it too far.
it's nice and
Who would have
creamy.
ever thought that sugar and garbanzo juice would do that, right?
I saw that in, and it looks like marshmallow.
It
Yeah.
almost does.
I was asking the ladies, and of course, Marcia's helping back here in the kitchen today. Marcia, Torque, yeah.
What do you
Marcia.
need?
I was just saying, I asked these two, I said, had you ever heard of aquafaba? Oh, yeah, of course.
yeah.
They're old hands at this. But it's a new thing for me. All right, now, Susie and I are breaking up the chocolate and measuring the chocolate. We're going to have to go into, yeah. You want to chop it up just like in like a half-inch square, kind of like, before you put it. I melt it in the microwave. I find that that works very nicely. A double boiler is a real pain to get out and do all of that. And the, you're trying to get it perfect.
Pain.
Oh, regarding that, the chocolate,
See, now it doesn't notice it.
All right,
which one do you have, Lindt?
I have
name?
Lindt.
Okay, I usually get, it's a Ghirardelli, and their bars are 4 ounces.
oh, really?
Yes. And their bags are 12 ounces. Do
Oh,
the math.
really?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, really?
So I do bags.
All right. I need a knife from the back to cut up the chocolate.
Okay.
I forgot to get a knife.
Your rocking knife will work. Should work on it.
Well, of course it would. What happened to our rocking knife?
They worked in a pizza restaurant for
Did they take it
I
away?
think they might have taken it away from us.
Right. Oh, look at that.
Does that work?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay, I do have a knife.
All right, let's do that. Let's stack them up here. I just cut each of the squares into fourths, is what's worked well. And when Susie and I were making this for the first time last week, I had her put it in the microwave just on high for 30 seconds. And then I read all about chocolate in the book you gave me.
Oh,
And that's a real no-no, don't do that. You're not supposed to put it higher than like 50%. So I put it on 30 seconds at 50%. I had to do that 4 times to get it completely melted, but stir it in between each time, because chocolate is notorious for breaking down or, scorching,
Yes.
all kinds of things. But also, if you just have 1 or 2, sometimes it'll be totally melted, but it'll be perfect shape, and you won't realize that it's melted. That's why you need to stir it. Very important. Oh, Suze, cut up. We need another knife. I'm sorry. You all wouldn't believe the list that I make to make sure that I have everything here that I need. And still, I mean, just a butter knife would work, whatever. She needs it down there to cut the butter.
cut the butter.
The earth balance, excuse me.
Yes, you misspoke.
Do you want a
Okay, just cut
cutting
things
board?
up.
We have a cutting board for you.
There's one over here. We're okay.
Here.
Okay, I think while she's cutting that up and getting that, she's going to put it all just right on top of this, and we're going to take it in there, and they're going to melt it for us. But it says, now that we have this all done, after this is all beat, it says add the vanilla, salt, and espresso. So the vanilla,
You got a measuring?
yes, I had to use it for the other recipe, and I only brought one. No, I needed that little shot glass. Little shot glass. Thank you. Thank you. 1 tablespoon of vanilla, I think is what it calls for. Yeah. Just put it all in there. But kind of spread it around piece by piece.
It's really worth all the trouble.
If you get all the ingredients ready first, it zips together. It doesn't take this long. Okay, so we're going to pour this into this aquafaba mixture. Now, Susie and I thought it was kind of funny because it says you have to fold it in with a silicone spatula.
You mean fold?
Oh, wait a minute, I got one more thing to put in.
Okay.
The salt.
What salt is that?
This is espresso, or this
Oh,
is
yeah.
coffee.
Well, you
And
said
then-
salt, and then you put in something black, so we're all.
Yeah. Black salt? All right, so it's vanilla, salt, and espresso powder, and then fold it in with that there spatula.
Do you have
Silicone
to-
spatula.
You have to use espresso.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't see any reason. In fact, if I make them again, I won't do it. I just like to make it by the recipe.
Yeah, I was.
And then feel free not to do it. Yes. In fact, I had to call neighbors because I don't drink coffee, and I had to find somebody that had coffee. I forgot to get it from Tracy and Lou, so anyway. All right, so now, pass this back for her to melt that stuff. That's the next thing that we need to do. All right, very good. So now, as soon as we have that done, it's almost finished. I have to tell you all some cool stuff about chocolate, though. One of the things that I thought was funny, Yvonne gave me this wonderful little book, and it doesn't just say about seasonings. It tells you all about things like chocolate. I don't think of chocolate as a seasoning, but I guess it is, isn't it? It just tells you so many things, but it was interesting to me, some of the things it said about chocolate. For those of you that know what carob is, a lot of us use carob as a substitute for chocolate. You can get carob powder. Oh, is that better?
Yes.
All right, sorry. Anyway, one time for the class, I made like a German chocolate cake, but it was carob,
It was wonderful.
all right?
Yes.
It looks like chocolate.
Yes.
The author of this book doesn't think much of carob. In fact, they don't think that it tastes like chocolate. She said the only similarity between carob and chocolate is that they're both brown. I'm going to try this brownie recipe with carob.
Okay.
I really want to do that. I think it'll be fun to okay, yeah, right. So anyway, it also tells how to adjust recipes. If you're substituting carob for chocolate, how much to change. Carob is a lot sweeter than chocolate, and so you cut the sugar some. So anyway, I thought that was cool. And I don't know if some of you might know this, but the reason some people feel that chocolate isn't good for you is because it has caffeine in it, basically.
So form of
Okay.
it.
Yeah, a form of it. So that's why some of us like to eat the carob instead. As we already talked about, you need to be really careful the way you heat chocolate and melt it. That's really important. And one of the things it said too, it said that I buy those little the little packages that you can get instead of using the melted, it's already melted chocolate. Comes in those, and I thought, it's just the coolest stuff. I don't have to worry about melting the chocolate. And they said, well, you lose a lot of quality when you do
Yeah, you do.
that. So I won't be doing that anymore. Anyway, also sometimes if you have chocolate and it gets this little white film on top of it, I thought that meant it was spoiled. It was like mold or something on there. It's not. It's just that it's gotten too warm and the cocoa butter has separated. So if you just heat it,
It'll go away.
it'll all go away and be just fine.
That's interesting.
If you get water mixed in with your chocolate, when you're melting that chocolate bar, it can sometimes, I can't remember what, anyway, it clumps up. So you want to make sure that utensils and everything are free of water. You want to make sure everything's dry before you go melting it. Anyway, it tells some other things in here about things that you can do to use chocolate properly. So, we got poor Marcia doing too many things back there. She's watching fries and our chocolate at the same time. All right, Susie, I'm going to let you stir in the chocolate when we get the chocolate, the melted chocolate. Are we good? Okay. It's always hard. Every microwave is different. It took about 2 minutes at my microwave at home at 50% to get it all melted. And a lot of times you can just let it sit, but we don't have time to just let it sit. What else could we be doing, Susie?
Susie used to tell us how great it is to have such a baking grandma. I was just saying, not me.
But that's why you came to the class, right? So you can learn how to do this, right? And be a baking grandma. Susie and I really had a good time the other day. We were trying all these recipes out, tried the beet burgers. We had a real nice time. And then we sent them out for people to taste. I sent some to Yvonne. Stephanie got to taste one. Tracy and Lou got to taste them. Is this edible? You know?
You make the list, Joe.
Joe, you're the one who doesn't like chocolate, right?
Oh, no, he does.
He does?
He just didn't eat it for 12 years, but for my second pregnancy with the twins, that kind of crashed.
Oh, Mom.
All right. Thank you. All right. All right, let's do this. This is what I did today. I just straightened it out like that. All right. So we're going to pour this chocolate in there. Go ahead. Make sure we're doing this right. We're going to fold it in with our silicone spatula.
Yes.
But you know what? When we get the flour, we get to stir it in. We don't have to fold. We get to stir. So.
That's good, sis.
And once she gets that mixed in, the flour and everything, it's the last step. That's all we have to do. And it's all done. So. Do you all use parchment paper?
Yes.
You know what? I had never used parchment paper. I went down to see a neighbor one day, dropped by a neighbor, and she said, "Oh, my mother got this, and I don't use it here. Here's this box of parchment paper." And I thought, okay, fine, sure, I'll take that. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I use it on everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's on my baby.
When I'm roasting vegetables, things like that, oh man, I put that on the pan, and then I don't have to worry about scrubbing them and everything. And of course, with this, it really works nicely too. Okay? Now, if you'll notice on your recipe, it says that don't overstir it. Where's my spoon I was going to stir with? I really did put one out. I'll get one soon. Having my spoon. Okay, I'll dump the flour in, and then you can stir it with this, okay? Just kind of scrape that off of the spatula there with this, and then we'll pour this in. Okay, here we go. All right. Just stir it until you don't see the flour on top. And the last but not least is the chocolate chips that we're going to put in there. I wasn't sure that I'd be able to find dark chocolate morsels if I wasn't down at the health food stores, right? But I found these at Meijer, and I'm pretty sure that Kroger carries them down too. They're dark chocolate morsels, free from milk, eggs, and all that stuff. And we need 3 ounces. One package is 9 ounces. So I had 3 recipes. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing. Let me kind of make sure that we get all the flour out of the spoon. Because there's always lots of stuff in there. And I'm also going to get it around the side. Right. Oops.
Question.
Yes.
Do you want her to start doing some of the samples or doing the full plate yet?
I think she could. Yeah. Yeah. Because all we're going to do is pour this in there and we're done.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's put the chocolate chips in, Susan. Same. 3 ounces doesn't seem like very much. And in fact, what I wish you could find is, I just don't think you can find chocolate that isn't real strong like that. I want a milk chocolate, but I don't want milk in it, right? Because you need it to be vegan. And I don't know if they make milk chocolate that's vegan, do they?
I think.
Yeah, rice chocolate.
What?
Rice chocolate.
Rice chocolate. Okay. Okay. All right. I think we're done. All right. We're going to pour it in the pan and get it back there in the oven.
we have a class?
Now, this recipe doesn't have any nuts in it. I would have to have nuts in the brownies.
Yes.
And I don't see any reason why you couldn't add them. If you can add those chocolate chips, you can surely add nuts.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Good.
I think nuts would be good because it's so rich. I think that might help cut some of it too.
Just kind of cut it. All right, they are assembling the samples back there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, thank you. I need a spatula to clean off the spatula. Now, this is where we lick the spatula, right?
Golden finger.
Right hand finger. All right, you want to take that back and put it in, and we're all done. For the sake of TV, I won't lick my finger. But at home, I surely would have. I've taught my grandchildren such terrible habits. We're going to bring out a sample.
Well, she has to make a coleslaw yet? Or
Pardon?
you gonna do a coleslaw?
Oh, Yvonne, you have to do the coleslaw.
Yes. What's the timer for this?
34 minutes. You want to grab
Which
this other
shelf?
one? Just leave those there, Susie. I don't think it'll hurt.
Probably the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, last but not least is a coleslaw recipe. And I had asked Barbara if she wanted to make this, besides being a topping for the burgers, to make it as a side. Because we always need more vegetables, right? But hers is really pretty. I like the, it has purple cabbage and green cabbage and carrots in it. So she got this, she says, from Meyer. And I'm gonna start with this, and if it looks like I need more cabbage, I'll do more. Okay, so the recipe calls for, and we're quadrupling it.
Are your seasonings quadruple?
Yes.
So you might,
Yeah, seasons are quadruple.
so you might need all that cabbage.
Yes, but cabbage, you know, it does the shrink thing, so, okay. So I'm adding so 8 tablespoons of the sweet chili sauce. And Barbara found the May ploy. I just bought whatever was in the store that I could find. And, but she was really good, and she actually got what they suggested. Oh, I'm not adding, okay. I know they say to put it all in the bottom of the bowl and whisk it, but I like the shape. It's much easier, and so that's what I'm going to do. So pour that in there. I hadn't used this sweet chili sauce before, but it's really yummy. It's like a little sweet heat, but not too much heat. It's like an after heat, afterburn. So that is 8 tablespoons of the sweet chili sauce. Rice wine vinegar, I did 4 tablespoons. The brag, I did 4 teaspoons. And I did the guy thing, sorry guys, you don't always read directions, you just kind of go in, get into it and start working it. And so that's what I did yesterday when I was doing this recipe. Because I'm assuming that all the earlier ingredients were for the burger, and the rest of the ingredients were for the coleslaw.
Okay.
So I added 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil to those other ingredients. Yeah. It made it so good.
That's how things are discovered, by
Yes.
accident, right?
Yes.
So now you're going to add oil to that.
I am, but I'm not going to add a 1/4 cup, that's just a lot. So I'm just adding 1 tablespoon of oil to it. Because the oil pulls everything together, and for a side salad, I like a little bit more structure to it, so. But if you're oil-free, that's fine, just do that.
I was so excited. It calls for May-ploy
You found
chili
it.
sauce. I thought, I'll never find that. Kroger had it. I looked it up on their little where you can find where things are, and sure enough, May-ploy. So you can do this recipe just like it says.
Yes, you can. Okay, so this is the dressing. That's what it just looks like. It's really nice dressing. Just pour it over.
Susie and I thought the slaw was really good, right? We thought it was great.
I mean, just for these few ingredients and to be as good as it is,
Yeah.
I was really impressed. Because I'm looking at it thinking, oh, it needs some onion, it needs some of this, it needs some of that, but it really doesn't. And when you add it, even by itself, with the burger, it makes the burger really, really tasty. So Barbara, I don't think we need all that coleslaw, but
Okay, all right.
I'll open up the bag, I'm sorry.
Well, we are ready to put the burgers together then, and let you all sample. The fries are ready, everything's good to go. I guess we could just, for those of you online, I'm so sorry you can't sample.
Maybe next time.
You'll have to make your own, and we are thinking,
Are you gonna show them one completed?
yes, we are. We have one all set up here.
She needs some slaw.
Once we get some slaw.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it out here and put the slaw right out here. How about that? Now, it calls for quite a bit of slaw, and so I put at least a 1/2 inch, deep on the sandwiches.
That's good.
There you go.
And you want a little side slaw too?
Yes. Serving a slide, that, and then we can put, should I put a big brownie? I'll put a brownie
Yo,
in there.
just demonstrate a little one.
There you go. There's your 4th of July picnic, all right.
And there is ketchup. He said kind of tilt it a little bit.
And
And I
keep
do-
your hand out of the way. Does that work?
Just couldn't see the french fries.
Yeah,
Fries, you can see the fries.
sorry. All right, so we'll go back. Let's have a word of prayer as we end it virtually, and then we'll have you all back here and you can do the sampling, all right? Lord, thank you so much again for being with us. Thank you for these wonderful foods that now we're going to sample. I hope all of those out there will take a shot at this and try some of these recipes that they can enjoy and have a more healthful 4th of July. Thank you so much in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Bye.